First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, appreciate you joining us. We are live here every weekday at 1 p.m. Pacific. We're streaming live on our website, on our apps, and on social media, of course. So thanks for finding us. And you can always go to any of those places and check out some of our past segments. Right now, though, we're talking about something that really affects all of us, and it doesn't matter who you are or how secure you think you are. We all can fall victim to cyber crimes. That is just something that's part of our reality right now, and it's always changing, so it's important to stay up to date on what's happening, including around the holidays right now. I don't know if you're like me, but I am inundated with emails that some of them look pretty legit, and I think anybody can really fall victim to that. But we're going to talk all about that, how to keep you safe. Right now, we're joined by Tony Sabaj from Check Point. And Tony, thank you very much for being here with us today. Appreciate you joining the show.
No problem. Thanks, Greg. Happy to be here.
And, I think it really is something that I feel like we can always be constantly educated about when it comes to cybersecurity and just being safe. But, especially around the holidays, I feel maybe people are a little more relaxed, maybe not paying as much attention. What are some of the big things that we should be concerned with right now?
So from a consumer perspective, some of the big things that people should look out for, specifically around the holidays, are a lot of scams that have to do with online shopping, and specifically with shipping companies are huge organizations that get spoofed a lot. Everybody's getting packages delivered this time of year, DHL, UPS, FedEx, and a lot of the hackers like to spoof the shippers into getting you to click on illegitimate links to either download malware or to give up personal information, or things like Amazon or Walmart. You're constantly inundated with those types of ads, and those are very commonly spoofed organizations that people fall victim to all the time.
And that's something I've definitely been getting, these where it's the texts or the emails saying, yeah, you have a package arriving. And sometimes I do have a package coming, but I'm not sure what the shipper is. They look so similar. What should you do in that situation to make sure you don't click on something that you shouldn't?
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. It's not just email, but it's also the texts, and even you're seeing, phone calls from these types of bad actors. And if you get a text message or an email from UPS or FedEx or DHL that you think is suspicious, but you really think you might need to change your delivery window or something like that, instead of clicking on the links in the email, go to FedEx.com or DHL.com. Go to the website yourself and log in. And then change your shipping information if you think you need to, or if they need more information, it'll be part of your DHL or FedEx account, and not some random text that may look suspicious.
Fair enough. So just go directly to the website instead of
clicking on a link. Yeah, exactly.
So and always. Go ahead.
And always look at especially on an email. Always look at the actual sender. So there's the display name, which I can send you an email right now and have my display name be anything I want. But if you look at the actual email address, if it's not coming from DHL.com or FedEx.com, a lot of times it says, FedEx delivery update is the display name, but the actual email address will be some random Gmail or, gibberish type account. And then that's usually a pretty good indication that it's illegitimate email.
What are some other key things that people should watch out for around this time of year?
So, the other thing is a lot of organizations are very vulnerable this time of year because of short staff. A lot of organizations put in change window freezes. So we see a lot of increase in cyber attacks this time of year because a lot of organizations are short staff or vulnerable, or don't have the people in place to make changes and respond to security incidents in as quick of a manner if it wasn't the holiday season, end of the year type of situation. So we see an increase in cyber attacks because they're more effective this time of year, because people are less vigilant, and also organizations have much less staffing this time of year because the holidays and the end of the year and forced vacations and freezes. So they let their IT staff have a couple weeks off, or they're running with short staff. So we see a lot of activity this time of year from the cyber crime and cyber attack perspective.
Which I would imagine makes your job extra busy around this time of year, at least Check Point.
Yeah, exactly. And over, the last few years, there's been some major security incidents that have affected, hundreds of thousands of organizations, major vulnerabilities that get exploited at this time of the year because of the short staffing and the fact that lots of people are off from a holiday perspective and you don't have, a full contingent in most organizations to respond to these types of things.
And that did something, we've seen, I believe it was a couple of mortgage companies that have just been hacked recently, and you see some of these bigger organizations falling victim to it. And I think that, to me, that just shows how good some of these bad actors are getting at what they do.
Yeah, exactly. You have things like ransomware, where they're, not only holding the data hostage, but they're doing things like, double, triple, and even quadruple extortion now, where they're saying, if you don't pay us, we'll delete all your data or make it unrecoverable. And if you don't pay us, we're going to release the information to the public, or we're going to contact the people who information we have on them and extort them, and that kind of triple extortion. And even now, what we're seeing in sort of like a fourth level of extortion is now that there's a whole bunch of new reporting laws that are required by the SEC, and they're actually going to the SEC saying, "Hey, this organization was breached. We breached them, and they didn't report it. So now they're facing fines and penalties for, technically breaking the reporting laws." So the bad actors, especially around ransomware and attacks, are getting very creative in how they're trying to monetize and make money off these attacks, and not just doing the actual attack to steal information, but doing extortion and ransomware.
Wow. So it's just getting more and more complex with how that works. I mean, for what you see, and I don't know how much you can talk about this or not, because I know it's, you are out there trying to stay ahead of them. But in that, we see all of these ransomware attacks and we see all of these other things, these escalations in that aspect. What do you think are going to be some of the biggest trends when it comes to cybersecurity threats going into 2024?
So the big threats that we're seeing starting to manifest, and some of the predictions that we've made and other industry analysts have made, is really the use of artificial intelligence in cyber attacks. I can craft much better emails now that are spoofing emails. I can create backgrounds and websites using AI that can spoof organizations much better than doing it by hand. One of the telltale signs of a phishing email was usually bad grammar, because a lot of times these are coming from countries where English isn't their first language, so you can tell that they're spoofing emails because they're using just blatantly wrong grammar. Now with AI, we can smooth that out. I can create websites that look like phishing websites much easier than trying to do it by hand by using AI tools. I can gather information using AI, so I can go to an AI engine and tell me everything you know about Greg Nibbler. Instead of having to Google you and do my own research, I can get it all put in front of me, and I can find out where you work and probably where you live, and maybe information that's out there that can help me design a more targeted phishing attack against you. And I can automate that and do hundreds of thousands of people, and not just you particularly, but I can easily automate and do what we call spear phishing, which is targeted phishing attacks against a specific individual or organization, by using AI to gather that personal information that makes it more believable.
Wow. I mean, that's kind of, I don't use that word too often on here, but that is kind of scary. Just how much access to information that has and how easy it is with AI. Is there any way to curb that, or anything that anybody at home can do to try to protect themselves from something like that?
From an individual perspective, again, it's a lot of the same things. If something looks suspicious, dive a little bit deeper into it. Go to the actual website itself. From an organization perspective, there's a lot of tools. A lot of the bad actors are using AI to create cyber campaigns. A lot of the the good guys and the organizations like Checkpoint that are offering protections and services to organizations are using AI to combat that. So it's a cat and mouse game, and sometimes the good guys are out in front and sometimes the bad guys are out in front. But it's definitely an evolving scenario in the cybersecurity world, is the use of AI, and not even getting into things like deep fakes, where I can create video. I could take just the 5-10 minutes we've been talking. That's enough video and voice for AI to spoof either you or me fairly convincingly, from a video and audio perspective. So even that case of using deep fakes to spread misinformation to get people to, either do something malicious or to get them to give up information is also increasing. And that's, again, using AI to generate those types of images and audio.
That's just, I mean, and you're right. Not encouraging anybody out there to deep fake me right now, but
Right.
it can happen. And looking at that, just the rapid advancement of that technology, are there any real ways out there to detect something like that? To detect if something is deep faked. I'm looking at, like, with the election coming up. I know we're getting a little
Right.
off topic, but just with the election coming up and how many ways people can use deep fake or AI to impersonate someone or create a fake video.
Yeah, I mean, there's some telltale signs of video and audio is even harder to tell. But programmatically, you can kind of tell whether it's natural voice or computer generated AI voices. There's ways programmatically to do it, and there's a certain amount of trust in the media that you have to do that Fox 12 isn't going to be showing AI generated fake information, but
Totally.
you have to be careful on social media and just the internet water cooler type stuff. That's where I think the misinformation can spread. You guys have the tools to know whether President Biden actually said something or it's somebody creating a deep fake of President Biden. But there's lots of ways to spread that misinformation that isn't coming through legitimate media outlets.
Yeah, 100%. And social media is absolutely where that happens. I can promise you, we'll vet everything before we put something out like that. Sorry, I just thought that was really interesting. So I'm glad. Thank you for the discussion on that. Just getting back to the task ahead, though. We're talking about cybersecurity around the holidays, but really cybersecurity anytime and just being safe at home. What do you think is the number one thing that people should be doing just to make sure that they're keeping themselves secure?
Yeah. So as a consumer, make sure you have a good security software on your PC and even your mobile devices. Most internet browsing is now done from mobile devices and not from PCs anymore. And there's lots of good tools out there for protecting those devices. So antivirus and different security tools that you can have installed. If something even looks suspicious, assume that it is. Nobody's handing out $100 free Walmart gift cards for clicking on a link in an email. If you get an email that says, hey, you need to reset your, I get this email all the time, my Apple ID has expired, I need to reset it. If I thought that was legitimate, I would go to apple.com and I would reset my password. I wouldn't follow some, random link on an email or a text, that may be even shortened to the tiny URLs or the short URLs. So always go to the website itself, and it's really use common sense. If something's too good to be true or looks suspicious, it probably is. And just be vigilant. A lot of organizations do cybersecurity training, and they'll actually send out phishing emails that aren't malicious but could be, to really train people on how to look for malicious emails. So we see a lot of that. There's obviously a lot of online resources that the actual consumer or individuals can go out there and look for, and there's lots of good free and inexpensive tools out there to help protect your mobile devices and your PCs from known and some unknown malware.
Well, Tony, anything else that you think people should know out there that you want to share just around this subject?
Yeah, again, be leery of giving up personal information unless it's a known trusted website. Don't respond to an email with personal information. If it's banking information or personal information, someone's asking for that, make sure you're going to their legitimate website. Most organizations make it very obvious that you're going to DHL or your insurance provider. They're not hiding behind, some weird looking URL or poorly formatted email. So just be, vigilant when you're giving up that type of information. And, be leery of clicking really on any links that are in emails.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think it's something, just also for everybody watching this, we're live streaming this part right now anyway. So maybe somebody's savvy enough not to do that. I think anybody can fall victim to it. But I also always remind people that you may have some family members or friends who aren't maybe as internet savvy, or maybe would be willing to click on things and maybe fall victim to some of that stuff. So let them know about it too. Let them know about this. Just remind them, don't click on everything that you're getting, and maybe just have them watch this segment. I think is always a good way. Well, Tony, thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate it. It's in the middle of the holidays. I really appreciate your time for being here and joining us for this, an important topic. And really, thank you for your input.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, have a good one.
Bye bye.
And for everybody watching, again, this is Fox 12 Now, so thanks for joining us. These are discussions. I know I've had cybersecurity discussions on here before, but I think they're really important. And as Tony was talking about, it's constantly changing with what everybody's able to do, with what the bad actors are able to do, especially with AI and deepfakes. I mean, some of that's just crazy. So it's really important to stay abreast of that, no matter who you are, no matter how much you think you wouldn't fall victim. Everybody can. All right, well, thanks for joining us. Again, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. Appreciate you being here. We've got all of our segments. You can watch those on YouTube, on Facebook, on the app. A great time right now to download the app if you don't have that. It's the Fox 12 Oregon app. That is a great, secure, safe way to watch all of our shows. So all of the segments that we have on here. So appreciate it. Thanks for joining in. We're going to sign off for now. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.